probably heard the old saying, hard work is good for the soul. Well, a new study says it can be bad for your heart. British scientists have found regularly working long days raises your risk of heart disease by nearly 70%. Elizabeth Cohen joins us now. That's insane. 70%? I mean, how long a working day are we talking about?
Well, the way that they did this study, Carol, is that they looked at folks who worked between 10 and 11 hours and then more than 11 hours. And so that's a pretty long day, right? Okay, so people who worked 10 to 11 hours had a 45% increased risk of heart disease compared to people who just worked a regular 8-hour day. And if they worked more than 11 hours, it was an increased risk of 65% of heart disease. So, you know, obviously this tells you a little something, that all that work may not be too good for you. And that's why I give everyone permission, 5 o'clock, get out.
Yeah, but
go home.
How many people do you know in any business work an 8-hour day? I don't know anyone.
It's tough. It really is tough. And I think in this economy, people are just grateful to have jobs.
Exactly. So they'll work, you know, how many hours it takes. So is it just about the work that affects you? Is it the stress?
You know, partly it is the stress. I mean, doctors know that stress is bad for your heart, but part of it is also just a time thing. I mean, if you're spending 11 hours at work, well, how do you have time to make healthy meals? How do you have time to exercise? So that's also part of it. It's just a scheduling thing.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I try to exercise, I really do, but it's tough sometimes. So should doctors be talking to their patients about their work schedules and saying, hey, it's time to lay off a little bit?
You know, that is one of the conclusions of this report, is that they say, look, in the same way that doctors, you know, take your blood pressure and your cholesterol, they ought to ask you how long you're working. And they calculated that if doctors did that, if they asked at the annual physical about the patient's work hours, they could maybe prevent about 5% of the heart attacks that are going on because of extra work. Now, who knows if that's true, but it's certainly an interesting thing should your doctor be asking you about your work during your annual visit.
Yeah, I'm just imagining going to my boss and saying, you know, my doctor says that I can't work over 8 hours.
Get a doctor's note, right? Get a doctor's note.
Here's my note. And the boss would say, yeah, right. Because, you know, he works more than 8 hours a day.
Right.
Elizabeth Cohen, many thanks.
Thanks.